Brought to you by Penguin.
Bantam Doubleday Dell Audio Publishing presents The Street Lawyer by John Grisham. The man with the rubber boots stepped into the elevator behind me, but I didn't see him at first. I smelled him, though. The pungent odor of smoke and cheap wine and life on the street without soap. We were alone as we moved upward, and when I finally glanced over, I saw the boots, black and dirty and much too large. A frayed and tattered trench coat fell to his knees. Under it, layers of foul clothing bunched around his midsection so that he appeared stocky, almost fat. But it wasn't from being well fed. In the wintertime in D.C., the street people wear everything they own, or so it seems. He was black and aging. His beard and hair were half gray and hadn't been washed or cut in years. He looked straight ahead through thick sunglasses, thoroughly ignoring me, and making me wonder for a second why exactly I was inspecting him. He didn't belong. It was not his building, not his elevator, not a place he could afford. The lawyers on all 8 floors worked for my firm at hourly rates that still seemed obscene to me, even after 7 years. Just another street bum in from the cold. Happened all the time in downtown Washington. But we had security guards to deal with the riffraff. We stopped at 6, and I noticed for the first time that he had not pushed a button, had not selected a floor. He was following me. I made a quick exit, and as I stepped into the splendid marble foyer of Drake Sweeney, I glanced over my shoulder just long enough to see him standing in the elevator, looking at nothing. Madame Devier, our receptionist, greeted me with her typical look of disdain. "Watch the elevator," I said. "Why?" "Street bum. You may want to call security." I walked away, wrestling my overcoat off my shoulders, forgetting the man with the rubber boots. I had non-stop meetings throughout the afternoon, important conferences with important people. I turned the corner and was about to say something to Polly, my secretary, when I heard the first shot. Madame Devier was standing behind her desk, petrified, staring into the barrel of an awfully long handgun held by our pal, the street bum. Since I was the first one to come to her aid, he politely aimed it at me, and I too became rigid. "Don't shoot," I said, hands in the air. I'd seen enough movies to know precisely what to do. "Shut up," he mumbled, with a great deal of composure. There were voices in the hallway behind me. Someone yelled, "He's got a gun!" And then the voices disappeared into the background as my colleagues hit the back door. I could almost see them jumping out the windows. To my immediate left was a heavy wooden door that led to a large conference room, which at that moment happened to be filled with 8 lawyers from our litigation section. 8 hard-nosed and fearless litigators who spent their hours chewing up people. The toughest was a scrappy little torpedo named Rafter, and as he yanked open the door saying, "What the hell?" the barrel swung from me to him, and the man with the rubber boots had exactly what he wanted. "Put that gun down," Rafter ordered from the doorway, and a split second later, another shot rang through the reception area, a shot that went into the ceiling somewhere well above Rafter's head and reduced him to a mere mortal. Turning back to me, the man with the rubber boots nodded, and I entered the conference room behind Rafter. "Up against the wall," the man said, using the gun as a very effective prop. Then he placed it very near my head and said, "Lock both doors," which I did. Not a word from the 8 litigators as they scrambled backwards. Not a word from me as I quickly locked the doors, then looked at him for approval. For some reason, I kept thinking of the post office and all those horrible shootings. A disgruntled employee returns after lunch with an arsenal and wipes out 15 of his co-workers. And I thought of the playground massacre.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?